Hello, everyone. No one's here. I'm just getting going quick. Going to play the music and do the Pledge of Allegiance, and everybody should join in by then. Sorry, I'm running a little bit late. Had some trouble with my phone. Weird things are happening, guys, but we're going to get started. Welcome, everybody, before you even get here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, where the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, oh, from sea to shining sea. From Detroit down to Houston, New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, oh, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'd rather stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt of this land. God bless the USA. Next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Yes, God bless USA. Proud to be an American. Welcome everyone who we got 34 people on. Jeffrey and Janet, Clinton, Stephanie, Myrna, Ian, Bill Woods, David. Looks like that's it for Kevin. Guys, tonight's show I have no clue about. I am not telling you this to lie. I'm not telling you. I have no clue. There's been some developments, and I'm going to get into all of these things. I'm going to talk about what I can talk about, how I can talk about it, and when I can talk about it. As soon as I talk to the kids. Right now, to me, it seems like we're just in a standstill. I want to talk about that, see you guys' points on it, and just kind of move on with whatever we can talk about. Just tonight's show, I'm going to be honest with you, is going to be you guys getting a chance to talk to one another. Myrna posted something. I want to mention it. Some other people have mentioned some that I want to mention that. I came down here today full of hope and gusto, but the fact of it is, we just got to see what we can do. And go for when we go. So let's talk about where we're at. Little Jimmy, I always start off with you, it seems like, and I'm not picking on you. It's just that's the way it happened. That's the way I started. And we all know your story. We all know what you're going through, and we all are here for you. I mean, there was such a ruckus brought up here a while back when you didn't post for a couple of days. I mean, John and a couple other guys was just like, they was, but maybe you're just like the grown-ups. Maybe you consider sometimes you just got to get away. And Jeffrey and Myrna and Janet, wouldn't you agree that sometimes you just gotta back off? And a weekend is usually my point. When I back off, it's usually my point where I try to it's usually my point where I try to just refocus and that. But, maybe that's how you were, Jimmy. Patriot 11, my two favorite numbers is 5 and 11. 11 for Louis Aparicio, my favorite all-time baseball player for the White Sox, and 5 because that was a number I always wore. And I can remember 11. I can remember when I got my first number, 5, and that's the number I always wore. When I got it, I don't want 5, I want 11. And I pleaded with the coach. And he said, no, you're 5. And, it is what it is, and it become my number. And, it's a number that I'm glad I got because I'd be Patriot 11 then if I wouldn't have, And tell stories about numbers. And that's what it is. The Patriot Karate Kid, who is now in wrestling, guys. Patriot Karate Kid he's evolving. He's growing up. He told me, I'm 13 now. You probably don't remember me. You guys heard the conversation that he sent me. And, I just want to meet that little boy so much because the way he talks reminds me of me because it's always with energy. It's always with happiness and joy. And Patriot Wyatt Earp, I just wonder if Mom went out and Googled Wyatt Earp for him. So he actually knew who he was because Wyatt Earp, he's brave, courageous, and bold. Long live his name, long live his glory, and long live his story be told. You know about that, don't you, Robert? And I want to give kudos, guys. While I'm doing this and I see this man's name, I want to give kudos to Robert. He's 6 hours ahead of us. It means it's already past midnight where he's at. But he is almost as loyal coming on here as everyone. And there are some days that I'm down or Ron's down. What are we doing this for? Guys, have you ever been there? Kids with school. Don't you ever wonder, kids, when you're in school, why you're doing it? But I just want to take a little moment out and give Robert credit for being there with us. He's like us. He's going through hard times, but he doesn't come out flamboyant. It's just every now and then he'll send me a message. Hi, Ralph. How are you? Hi, Ralph. How are you? It makes me know that he cares and he's concerned. And I try to answer. Sometimes I don't see it. And, if I do answer, he's already in bed. I've talked to this man sometimes at 3 and 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. Then I've talked to him at 8 or 9 in the morning because I'm up late. So kids, when you want to pick somebody that's really, really cares about this, what's going on, he never mentions money. He never mentions health. He's just here as a patriot. Maybe we should nickname him Patriot Dedication, kids. We'll see. I put it out there. I'll see what he thinks. We got Patriot Savior, and even so Savior don't come. We know she's always sending things. But anyway, Wyatt Earp, and then we have our little princess, our queen Haley, and I think I missed the name. I'm sorry, guys. We have princess, our queen. We have Patriot Hunter, who, he probably on the show, if he ever listens to it with grandma, he probably thinks, well, why does my sister get so much recognition and I don't? It's nothing. It's just that I know her a little bit better than you. Yeah. Grandma shows me more pictures, and it's not that grandma loves her more. She doesn't. She loves you both with all her heart. It's just that it's hard to say, because as a man, kids, I remember when my ex-wife was expecting our first child. When we was expecting our first child, and I remember I wanted a boy so bad. My dad had 3 sons. Ron didn't have any children. My brother Russ had 5 girls. My dad wanted a boy to fulfill and carry on his last name. And when he got that boy and my son, I remember telling him on the phone, and we both cried like babies. Not because we was disappointed. We were so happy. And my son turned into be a very nice young man. He could be more of a patriot, but we all have our downfalls. But I was so happy the day he was born. But then I remember June 10th of 1986, Boogs. June 10th of 1986, Boogaloo, Boogie, and Booger. On that day, my daughter was born. For my son, I didn't get to go in. It was an emergency cesarean. I went from going to be a dad not knowing what it was, because I didn't want to know. I'm old-fashioned, kids. I didn't want to know what we were having, because I didn't want to find out it was a boy, and then all of a sudden it comes out a girl, and it would have broke my heart, my dad's heart. We didn't know the same thing on my daughter, but I took the classes so I could be in there. And as they're doing the cesarean on my wife at the time, they're doing it to have my daughter born, I started to get white-faced. She was already out. And she said, Mr. Anderson, you look like you're about ready to lose it. You need to step outside and get some fresh air. I said, no. They were cleaning her up. You know how they do. I said, no. She's been out now for X amount of time. I need to hear my daughter cry. Listen to this, kids. Patriot Leona and Patriot little Leilon. I needed to hear my daughter cry. They held her butt up to me. I went like that. Almost 40 years later, this June 6th is the only time I've ever spanked my daughter. I got my daughter. But the point I'm telling this story, Patriot Super Gymnast, is because you belong to this story. Because without that amazing mother of yours, that amazing daughter of mine, you wouldn't be here. And it's something that I take dear in my heart. But what the point I was making is every man wants a son, and I got my son. My son-in-law, David, Grandma Bo's grandson. With Patriot 7, he got his son to carry family names on, because it's important for a man. But then when you get that daughter, when I got the granddaughter first with Patriot Super Gymnast, I cannot begin to tell you the happiness and joy. Yesterday, Patriot Small Hank, who's another carry on the generation of the Anderson family name. Yesterday, when I'm at the basketball games, Patriot Super Gymnast was very, she just wanted to aggravate me. She kept coming up and taking my hat, and she'd go back and she sat behind me like this. And she was laughing, making fun of me. And I told her, I says, it doesn't bother me that people see my bald head. I've been bald, as my daughter says, I don't remember you with hair, Dad. It doesn't bother me, but she just did it. When I wasn't saying nothing and letting her get to me, she flips it down to me. Diane VA, she flipped it down to me. I put it back on. And about 5 minutes later, she comes down and she does the same thing again. Patriot Kira, she flips it, takes it again, and she goes up there and she's sitting up there. Na, 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 na. And I didn't do nothing. I didn't even acknowledge it. I let her have her fun. Because that's what grandpas do with their granddaughters. They let them have fun. Girls just want to have fun. And you know, Patriot Cutie Pie, I can't wait to see you and do something like that to me or to Ron, you know. But then all of a sudden she comes down, guys, and she sits by me. Patriot 17. She sits by me, and I put my arm around her and I hug her, and she puts my hat on my head and she says, "I'm sorry, Pop." I said, "Why?" It was fun. But she crossed her legs and she's wearing these clogs, guys. And it was a timeout at Liam's Patriot 7's basketball game. It was a timeout. So all the players was over on the sideline. And she puts her feet up and she's got these clogs. You know how easy they are to take them off, all my kids? They're so easy to take them off. And I reached down and I picked one up and she said, "Papa, what?" And I take it and I throw it out in the middle of the basketball court. I don't have to go get it. And she comes back and she gives me a hug and she says, "That was amazing." Because it wasn't thing. We had our fun together, and that's what kids should do. She was having fun at a place that she didn't want to be. Because no 11-year-old sister wants to go watch her 5-year-old sister and her 10-year-old brother play basketball. She wants to be with her friends. And at this particular game, there wasn't a lot of friends there. There's a couple. But she was in one of those moods, and we just played it off. And kids, that's what I keep trying to tell you. Just play things off. But I tell you, my son, my grandsons, 2 grandsons, one's carrying my name on, one's carrying his dad's name on. I wouldn't trade them for the world. But with Patriot Super Gymnast, it was like less than a month before she was born. I wanted to go check on my daughter to make sure she was okay, and I drove the 20-some miles. I used the excuse. I told Ron, he says, "I'm running in to get a few groceries, and I'm going to go and check on Amber." And it was scheduled start raining at a certain time, and it could turn into snow. And I said, "Okay, I'm going to leave." And she looked outside. My daughter looked outside and said, "Dad, it's starting to rain." I said, "I'm going home." Before I got 2 miles out of town, the rain had turned to snow, and it turned to snow so much I could not see the end of my car. But I kept going and going on my journey. I couldn't turn back now. I should have. I got to a place where there was a stop sign and I could hardly see. I said, "I'm going to turn here because if I can't see, I know where to get to in the town where I went to high school, and I can go into a gas station and just stand in there and wait it out." Needless that I know that the snow was blowing so much and the drifts were so bad that when the snow was really bad a couple days before, they only cleaned 1 lane on this road. And I got stuck. The temperatures dropped down to wind chill of about 25 degrees below zero. I'm out there in a t-shirt because when I left, it was 46 degrees. I had just bought my new car, had a great heater and a full tank of gas, and I'm stranded. I call for help. They say, no, they've canceled all help to go out. I'm stuck there. And I literally thought I was going to die that night and never see my new grandbaby. We didn't know if it was a boy or a girl. But it was. When I got sick a few years ago, it was Ella, Patriot Super Gymnast, that she was worried about me. So I brought her in when I knew I was going to be okay. And what I'm saying, guys, is you just develop such a love for the little girls. The boys are great. They carry the family name. You love them with all your heart. You play ball with them. You do this and you do that. They do so much. But the little girls steal your heart. And I think there's why I talk about princes more. because the little girls steal daddies, grandpas, and uncles, and that's hearts. The little boys play catch, go fishing, and even, eventually start drinking a beer with you. So that concludes tonight's version of the children. I hope you guys liked my version of it because I put a lot into it. Some people may say, does he ever shut up? Yes, I do. We got a miracle on here tonight. Welcome. John's on. Let's see. Janet, she's a rock. She's here every night, just like a lot of yous are. 74 people, and I thank each and every one of them. But you have to understand, that concludes tonight's version of the children. But remember, this show is not made for you children. Right, Kevin? It's not made for you children, but you can watch it under the discretion and okay of your grandparents, parents, or legal guardians. So, the music I played tonight, we have no legal rights to. We use it for entertainment purposes only. And now I've covered all of the legal mumbo jumbo. So what do we got to talk about? Where are we now? I can't tell you guys exactly what we're going to be able to say because I watched a video the other day, and in the video, it was done by Wolverine. I don't hide the fact that Wolverine is not one of my favorite people. It's not that I don't like him, but Wolverine to me seems like a glory seeker. He wants the glory. He wants the limelight. When he feels someone else is getting more, all of a sudden Wolverine puts himself in an NDA. But I'm watching this short video and he's walking. Hi, guys. How you doing, guys? Guys, I got some news, guys. But guys, I can't tell you. There's nothing that irritates me more than someone telling me they got some news, but they can't tell me because you know what it is? They got nothing. They got a nothing burger, but they want to act like they know something. Is that not right, David Duffy and Kevin? Clint Home, they have nothing. But I'm not cutting Wolverine down. I do like him. I just don't like some of the things he does. Now, in his video, and it has been verified to me by some other people who do things, I've read or listened to him. He says in his video, guys, we're close. We're really close. And I agree, don't you, Lynn? But don't you also agree, Janet and Mike Davis? Good to see you, Mike. And thanks for the message. I'm glad I could help you today. And no, it wasn't an off the wall. It just was a mistake. We got through it. Isn't that right, Lee Clip? We got through things that we settled. But as Wolverine is talking with his high guys and his guys and all this, he says, as a person who gives this information, we have been asked as the leaders, we have been asked to not give intel the way we have. I said, oh, this should be good. We've been asked not to do this because we're that close. Okay. And, guys, Kevin and Lynn and David, Janet and Myrna, don't you agree we are close? But it's the same old song, but with a different meaning. What's that? Every month, as Ron says. It's everything, and I'm going to cover some things about proof. But we're close. Now, my feeling is we are, and I'm glad I clarified this, that other people are saying this, that they just don't want certain things put out there. Why? It's a movie, guys. It's a movie. They know how it's going to end. They know that the hat is going to be king. They know that Lady Diana is going to be queen. And they know that another person's going to take their mask off. So many people are going to take their mask off. It's going to be, it's going to surprise us. And when you hear the news about MJ, Michael Jackson, and that everybody was so down on this dominating young man The only thing I was down on him is because I'm a firm believer. I don't care the color of your skin. I don't care if you're man or you're woman. I believe you're born a way and you don't change God's way. That's why I believe in men and women. I believe in boys and girls. If a man wants to be with a man and a woman wants to be with a woman, I don't care. I'm ecstatic that women want to be with women because it got me to be able to get rid of my ex-wife. So I'm happy. But I do not believe, I believe when Adam and Eve was created, it was a man and it was a woman. And I'm not going to go no further on the subject because I think you understand. What? Yes, sir. Ron just called me Preacher Ralph. But it is what it is, and we are close. But we're close now that we need to stick together. Right, Lee? Right, David? Right, Myrna? We need to stick together, and we need to keep going upward. Not, well, I know something, but I can't tell you. If you know something you can't tell us, keep your mouth shut. It's a plain and simple thing. I am so sick and tired. And now, here we are. Where are we at money-wise? Well, they're saying that we're going to get some this month. It's a 28-day month. We're almost done with day number 16. The senior citizens are going to get their raise this month. Even if you've been paid, I've been paid, Ron's been paid. In 2 days, the third week will be paid. And then the fourth, I believe if I'm right, it was the 11th, the 18th, the 25th. The last one will be paid. But why are we waiting if the money is there? And then we're supposed to get this money. And we've been told by Bruce now for a week, 2 weeks. The only thing a couple of weeks ago he had knew, we was told, we're going to get money. They're going to start at age 21 and everybody's going to get money. The older you are, the more you get. So senior citizens is probably, the way I understand it, going to get $5,000 a month. The senior citizens are going to get their raise. And I'm thinking, wow, we can actually live. Would you not think it'd be right, Lady Anita, David Duffy, and Joseph Phillips? Would you not think it'd be right that senior citizens who work their whole lives under the scrutiny of being robbed and stolen from, that now it's right that we get our money back and we can do things? Because right now, most of us, we have to budget everything. We have to make sure we pay the gas bill, the electric bill, which keeps going up and up and up. We have to buy groceries. And I says, I go to Aldi's to shop. Now here's something. Here's something, because you're going to listen to the hat say, well, everything is down. Down my behind, down by my butt. I went to Aldi's yesterday, the cheap place to shop. I used to pay 59 cents for a can of corn, a can of peas, or a can of green beans. 59 cents. But the hat's taken over and now there's 79 cents. And that's down, but they'll still stand in front of the country, the world, and say everything is down. He promised us when he came in, by a certain point last year, gas in every state in the United States would be under $2 a gallon. I knew that was wrong because I knew the fat man here in Illinois was not going to allow us to go down that low. It's still not down under $2. It's still here in Illinois. It's still around $2.79 to $2.89. Every now and then we get lucky and we get it for $2.59. And I have a card for one of these gas stations that every time I get gas, I get 10 cents off. But I don't go there because they jack the prices up so dang high that I can go to the place over by Walmart and get it for 20 cents cheaper without having a dime off. And here's another thing that they're doing. You go to these stores, Burkhart's, you go to these stores, Jewel's, and you get this, you put your phone number in to get stuff cheaper. Now they got this clip coupons that you got to go and download an app and clip the coupons of the stuff you want to get them cheaper. Senior citizens, there's so many out there that has no clue how to clip a coupon, but you don't get the sell. Or my favorite one was yesterday. I went into Burkhart's and they got these pizzas. They're called Roma, Roma pizzas, and they have this covering on top of them. And they're $2.99 a piece, but if you buy 5, you can get them for $10. So I bought 5, and I'm up there. And when I put my number in, and I've clipped the coupons, only $2 come off, and that was for lettuce. And I said, wait a minute. These pizzas, they're supposed to come off. He said, well, you didn't buy 5. Person behind me says, there's 5 laying right there, sir. What do you mean he didn't buy 5? Well, they're not all Roma. I said, well, I got them all at the same spot. What they do is Jack's pizzas their coverings look almost identical, and they put the Jack's right next to them in 2 different spots. So much so that I went and took pictures and showed them. And I said, I didn't pick up any Jack's. Jack's should be in a different section. Oh no, there's 2. And he showed me. And I said, well, okay, I don't want any of them. Then I thought, no, I'll tell you what, charge me for 5 of these. I'll take the 2 Jack's back. You can finish ringing me out. I'll pay. I'll take the 2 Jack's pizzas back. I'll get 2 Romas and I'll leave. And they did it. But there was one person working with 10 people in line behind me. Older people just decided they didn't want the pizzas. They took the pizzas back. And when the guy asked them, when they rang him up, they told him, why should we even buy them? 2 people just left their whole carts there and said, I'm tired of playing these games. But, you can do that. You can walk out and make them put the stuff back, but still you got to have the food. So they know you're going to be back. Why are they trying to mislead us? Why is the hat letting them mislead us? Especially, and I'm not on a crusade here for senior citizens, but there's so many that don't understand things. I know David Duffy understands, and probably Kevin and Papa G is one of the smartest men I've ever talked to. But that's what it is. So Mike Davis, he contacts me today, and he tells me, he asked me a question. Now, he contacted me on a place that he's never contacted me before. And here was his, hey, what do you know? How soon is the special bed's going to be available? And he went on to say, why? And all of a sudden I say, who is this? I didn't know. Mike's always contacted me someplace else, a couple places, but never here. And he contacted me here. So I clicked on the number that he contacted me through on this format. And I kind of figured it out. And I come back and I said, is this Mike Davis? He comes back to me and he says, oh, yeah, Ralph, I'm so sorry. It was just a mistake. He beat himself up for it. But Mike, don't do it, because you're not the first one that makes that mistake. And I've made it many times. But he wanted to know about the special beds. And here's a little something. 49 days until full civilian access. 5 days ago, 83.7% global capacity. Today, 87.2% global capacity. New activations in the last 120 hours. Texas, 3 centers online. Arizona, 2 centers online. Germany, 2 centers. Japan, 1. Australia, 1. Total of active special beds units worldwide, 4,218. The acceleration is real. The countdown does not pause. Now, I wanted to read that just because I wanted to give a time frame. I wanted to read that because I wanted to give a time frame. But now here is another article that says that we have over 80,000 just in the United States alone. There really isn't a whole lot of information on it right now. This is one that I read the other night that I really liked, and I wanted to repeat it. This is one they never wanted us to see. For the first time in history, we are authorized to share the complete special bed treatment process. And if you guys didn't hear it Friday night, you should listen tonight, because this to me is one of the best steps we've had taken. Because for the first time, they're authorized to tell what happens. Step 1, the patient enters the crystalline chamber. Step 2, a full body quantum scan performed in 3.2 seconds. Step 3, the AI identifies every disease, injury, and generic anomaly. Step 4, targeted frequency healing begins, duration 15 to 20 minutes. Step 5, the patient exists fully healed, zero recover time. This is not science fiction. This is science fact, and has been hidden for 50 years. Forward with this to everyone. Now, I wanted to read that again tonight because I want to ask you your feelings, Joe Phillips, David Duffy, Bill Woods, Janet, Clint Home. I want to ask you your feelings. Myrna, this is a special question for you. Are you excited about the special beds? I am. I was talking to a girl the other day. You might know her by Julia. And I told her that I want to spend the next 300 years with her. Now that sounds, would you admit, Maria, would you admit, John, Joyce, would you admit that if you make a statement to someone that you want to spend the next 300 years with someone, people's going to think you're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? You're goofy. You don't have a clue of what's going on in this world. That's what people's going to think. But then when you got the ace in the hole and you know about these special beds and you know about all these other things, it's like, wow. And I always use the phrase, Maria and Papa G, I always use the phrase about these beds when they say, that sounds crazy, Ralph, or that sounds crazy, Patriot 5. No, because see, here's the deal. Go back and read your Old Testament in your Bible. Go back and read that and see exactly what it says. How many times can you go in and read a part of a certain individual? Let's say John. John was a very nice man. He married Marie. And I'm just making up names, guys. He married Marie. They had 3 children, 2 boys, 1 girl. John lived to be 227 years old, and then he died. His children lived to be 321 years old, and then he died. That happens all the time. RP-6J5NJ. That happens all the time in the Old Testament. Why? Why was people living to be that age now? And now when we live, I'm 72 years old, and I consider to be old, ancient. When they talk about us, they don't talk about us as citizens anymore. Am I right, Myrna? Am I right, Bill Woods? They don't talk about us, Papa G, as citizens. They don't say he's a young man, he's an older man. They call us senior citizens. We get our own name. We're senior citizens. We're the ones that helped build and survived the evilness of the Clintons, the Bush boys, Big Mike and his husband. And we all know the Clintons. We all know we survived. And we're alive to make this go. And that's why I do a kids segment and nobody else does shows that does a kids segment, because we're the ones, thank you, Bill Woods, we're the ones that are leading our kids that we have now. They have to be our leaders. Eileen and David Duffy, they have to be, Jeffrey. They have to be our leaders, because when you take our generation, the baby boomers, when you take them and you put them in a vacuum, what do you got? The generation coming up, the next one. What do you got? You know what you got? You got a bunch of greedy people. Now, there is a lot of great ones in there too, but the majority of ones, all they want is money, money, money. They don't think about, they don't think about doing things for their parents to help them out. They think about, how much can I put in the bank so when it crashes, they don't got nothing. They don't think about helping and doing things. They just think, if I mention the hat to my son, I don't want to talk about that. He lives in my home and he don't want to talk about something that I want to talk about, something that I'm so hyped up about. My son is one of the smartest men I've ever known. But through the patriotism movement, in a way, he's become not so smart. When I tell him something and he looks at me like I'm crazy, and I'm wondering if I'm crazy about what I'm telling him, about what I've learned, David Duffy and Eileen, if I'm telling him something and he looks at me like I'm crazy, why did he get straight A's in history in school? He got straight A's learning something that never freaking existed. But boy, the eyes are going to open. And people like that generation, the eyes will open when cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching comes. But when the eyes are really going to open is when they're forced to sit there and watch certain things. When they see what we've went through, what they've had to endure. And I made the statement when I was talking about the beds, and I didn't finish it because I said, Myrna, you're one. I know Myrna has every right in this world. They've hid this technology for 50 years. Myrna has lost a son, a daughter, and a husband. But with this technology, Myrna would be the happiest woman in the world, probably with grandbabies. But she didn't get the opportunity because these greedy sons of bees, boy, I come close to saying it, these greedy people wanted money, money, money. In Vietnam, the war continued and continued. And now there's empty chairs and empty beds where kids did not come home. Kids that did want no part of being part of the greatest military force in the history of the world. They wanted no part to go into a country that they didn't care about and come home in a box. But they did, because they believe in the United States of America, the greatest country in the world. But these greedy people, and you know what? We've had the time. It started in 2015 when he started to run. In 2016, he won. In 2020, he won. In 2024, he won. Why is it taking so long to do this? Why do they say we have to go now for X amount of days? If it's ready to go, why we're not? We know it's working because the children that have been saved, they have been using it on you. The older people, they've been using, but not all the older people. You heard my phone ring at the beginning of this show. I had to cancel the call. It was from a gentleman that lives right next door to my brother Ron. He's in a nursing home, and I found out today he's now been put in a hospital. I'll give him a call tomorrow. This is a man that with these beds could be walking up and down the streets. He could be working. He could be doing things that he needs to be doing. But no, he's hoping that he can make the beds. My brother-in-law, Ray, lost his life. And one of the last things he said to me is he said, Ralphie, thank you for trying. Thank you. And you thank the people that you are working with, such as Myrna and people like that, who give me ideas what I could give to help my brother-in-law live longer. Unfortunately, my sister decided, no, it wasn't worth the try. My brother-in-law and me couldn't understand why. But I tried You guys all tried for me. You can remember the tears I cried when I lost my brother-in-law, and it was a silly loss. The people that are passing away now, they could be living another 100, 200, and 300 years. We're going into a time right now, guys, that we're going to go heaven on earth, not earth on heaven. God has always wanted heaven on earth. Would you agree, Eileen and Myrna and Lady Anita? He's always wanted that, right, Janet? But we're so close, but they hid it for 50 years. But why? Why? If they're ready, why are we waiting? I was told the other day we're going to get this amount of money every month as long as the tariffs stay. Why wouldn't the tariffs stay? They're bringing in trillions of freaking dollars. Trillions, not millions, not billions, but trillions of dollars. They're helping other countries save money. I told you about how the Hat put his hammer down the other day, and he did something to end this war between these two countries. One country that I care for a lot because there's a woman in there that I care for with all my heart. And he put the hammer down, and he crippled the one country. Now that's what we're hearing, but you also have to remember the reason that one country is in the other country was to save the children, and they've saved thousands. But now they're greedy. They want more. They want more. They want to bully, and they want to take property away from this other country. Property where their minerals, their gold, their oil and silver is so prominent. They want to take this property and make it theirs. Why? If the other country don't have the money to get this stuff out of the ground, to do what they need to do to become a wealthy country again, work together. 209 countries, guys, have went out. They've went out and they've worked together, signing treaties. But a sign is worth nothing if we don't get something. If we don't get something to actually put it into action. The money I've talked about that we should be getting, it's based on what's going to happen. How are we going to get it? It's plain and simple how we're going to get it. The Hat's going to finally step up. People are saying he's going to be king of the world. Lady Di is going to be this. And I started to mention MJ, Michael Jackson, the way he went through the names he was called, the terrible names he was called, because everybody thought about children in him. But they had the misleading thing because the children that they was accusing him of doing things to have come out now and spoken. You guys were all wrong. He was taking us to a place to save us. He was saving us. He was loving us, not in the way that they were on that other island. He was loving us for us and saving us. And now we have a life. It's going to be a glorious day. And that may be when people open their eyes. When a man like BJ, and you know who I mean, he's a minister now, but he sings like a king. When he comes out and the world actually realizes him, maybe he'll shave the beard. Maybe he'll look a little different. But when you listen to this man sing, and guys, I have sat in Las Vegas and I've listened to imitators of the king, and they were good. But when you listen to BJ sing, when you listen to him, you know what you know. And we know this. I was looking just today, and someone said that they came out with a full list of the people. I'm going to tell you right now, I could care a rat's butt about the list of people that went to that island. All I'm asking is the people who went there and did what they did. They used to have hunting. Guys, listen to me. They used to have Bobo and Clinton and Bill and Lady Anita. They used to have hunting expeditions where they would take the kids into the woods. No clothes, cold. The people would line up with, you know what? And all of a sudden they tell the kids, all you have to do is run and hide. Run and hide. And after a certain time, we'll come and we'll clothe you and we'll take you back. They didn't tell the kids that they were being hunted. And grown men, that some of them may have been a major part of our country, the greatest country in the world, would hunt. And it's a shame. It's a rat's butt shame that something like this could happen. But some kids survived. And maybe that's the song, I Did Survive. They survived, and now they're telling their stories. Bobo, Lady Anita, and Myrna. Now they're telling their stories. If a person can listen to something like that and not open their eyes, shame on them. I was talking to someone the other day, and we got talking about kids. And this person asked me, and he says, why do you smile so much? I said, isn't it better to smile than to be sad all the time? When you look at me and you see me smiling, every picture I take, I'm smiling. As a matter of fact, my daughter caught me off guard yesterday getting a picture taken with my grandson. I didn't know she was doing it. And I was just sitting there. And it might be the first picture I've had taken, and I don't know how long, that I wasn't smiling. Because I'm a firm believer when you're smiling, the whole world can smile with you. When you're laughing, the whole world can see it through. When I come here, I have reason to smile. 115 people have chosen to give up this time of their life to listen to some weirdo speak from his heart. I haven't been preaching about what's going on. I haven't been going off the reservation. Right now, to show you some of the things I do, right here, look at this picture. That picture is my daughter sitting with her uncle on her uncle's sofa. Her uncle is my brother-in-law, Ray. That picture popped up for me yesterday. The little baby was Patriots super gymnast when she was a young baby 10 years ago. That picture popped up for me, and I sent it to my sister. And my sister just sent it back with tears flowing out of her eyes, because I thought enough of her to send her that. I sent it to my daughter too, and it was kind of a sad moment. But see, sad moments can turn into happy moments. And that's where we have to go. We have to be happy. We have to keep going, guys. Kevin and Myrna and David and Lady Anita, David, we have to keep going. We have to keep our vibrations up. And the easiest way to keep our vibrations up is this. Here's another picture. That's my little dog, Candy. That's my little dog that she passed away 2 years ago. The day she passed away, the next day was my dog, Dasher, was the first day she had ever spent 1 minute away from. Well, when we buried her, she was gone. But she had never spent any time, them two puppies. And this picture popped up, and I cried like a baby for my love for that little dog. I don't have a lot now, but we're at 53 minutes, and I don't know how I did it. Talked a lot and probably bored you guys a lot, but I figured the way I was talking, it'd give you guys a lot of time to talk. But I do have Restored Republic. And this is a summary of Judy Bidington. In a recent report, Judy Bidington revealed that President the Hat had activated the Big N and Big G worldwide, marking the beginning of the new golden age. According to Bidington, Big N, National Economic Security and Reform Act, is set to be announced to the world, signaling the start of global economic revolution. This announcement is expected to follow the activation of the emergency broadcast system, which will instruct people to stay at home 10 to 12 days, after which they can visit official redemption centers to set up their personal money accounts on the new financial system. Now, what they're saying there in that 10 days of darkness, everybody after that will set up an appointment. That's the point you have to understand. It doesn't matter, David. It doesn't matter, Janet. It doesn't matter anybody over here watching this video tonight. It doesn't matter if you have foreign currency. Everybody will go to the redemption center. Everybody will be rewarded. Now, I think there is an age limit. I don't know exactly what it is. But just imagine. Just imagine. No more debt. Just imagine. You go to the store and you see, oh, I want that steak. You don't look at a price tag. You get it because you can afford it. And you know what's funny? As you get older, I can remember cooking out with my brother-in-law, Ray. And I wanted to tell this story because my brother-in-law, Ray, is very much on my mind tonight. Maybe that picture got to me. I don't know. But I remember cooking out, and he used to work for Butternut. And Butternut, when he was putting the bread on the racks, they had these racks that was this little thing, perfect to bring home. Put one on one side, one on another, one on another, one on another, and then put however many you need on the perfect grill, homemade grill. You put the charcoal or the wood down on the ground, and he would cook steaks. And I'll show you how long ago this was. We used to get steaks, 59 cents a pound for chuck steaks. But when my brother-in-law, Ray, would put the seasoning salt, when he would cook the steak exactly like you want it. Some people, my mom wanted hers well done. My dad and me and Ron wanted ours rare. Other people wanted a medium. He would cook them, and he was great at it. My brother-in-law, Ray, was a cook for the United States Navy, so he knew how to cook. But 59 cents a pound, 79 cents a pound. And I can remember a steak sometimes would be a pound and a half. And as a 20-year-old boy, young man, I could eat that thing like it was nothing. And now, when me and Ron have steaks, we buy these little 5-ounce ones and we cut them up and we make sure we give Dasher some because we don't eat as much. Someone says, you're keeping your weight down? Sure, I keep my weight down. I eat half of a 5-inch steak and a baked potato, and I'm stuffed. Maybe it'll change, but it is what it is. And we're in the midst of going to this world, guys. The Big N and Big G revolution promises to bring about significant changes to global economy. I've already read this, I think. No. Quantum Financial System, QFS, has already taken over central banks, and assets have been transformed to the new system. Personal bank accounts, saving accounts, and retirement accounts are safe and have been mirrored onto the QFS. However, investments and shares on stock markets have been transferred and considered lost. The new stock market, which will launch with the QFS, indicates it can operate, will feature asset-backed stocks, unlike the old system that was manipulated to the benefit of the CAB, you know what. The Global Currency Reset, GCR, is a key component to Big N, Big G revolution. It aims to create fiscal balance between nations, making a significant departure from the traditional power dynamics in the world economy. Lost where I was at. World economy. The QFS is based on ISO 20022 standard, which is blockchain based and ensures all transactions are traceable and C with a bunch of letters in between and free. Probably, you know what? As Byington notes, everything in the QFS was on the ISO 20022 standard. This is blockchain and not fraudulent, can happen because everything is traceable. They can see where it goes. The activation of Big N, Big G is also expected to bring about the redemption of historic bonds which have been locked away for decades. These bonds issued by governments are backed by gold and our land reserve represent a significant challenge to the current fiat currency system. If redeemed, they could force a revaluation of sovereign liabilities, reserve disclosures, and relationships between gold and currency. As Ezra Cohen notes, historic bonds are not dusty antiques. They are sovereign promises tied to gold, land, and real reserves that were never fully honored. As we stand on the brink of this enormous change, it's essential to understand implications of Big N and Big G and the GCR. The new financial system promises to bring about economic equality, restored financial power to the people, and break the chain of debt. However, it's crucial to be aware that potential scams and ensure that any historic bonds or financial instruments are authentic and verified. In conclusion, Big N, Big G revolution and the global currency reset mark the beginning of the new era in global finance. As we navigate uncharted territories, it's essential to stay informed and be prepared for the changes that are coming. With the QFS and GCR, we can expect a more transparent, free, and equitable financial system. As Byington notes, over time, money will no longer be important because everyone will have enough to live an abundant life. Now, that's where I want to finish the show tonight. Money will no longer be important because everyone will have it. And if you try to tell someone whose eyes are closed, they look at you like you're the dumbest person in the world. But we're not. We're here for a reason. We're here to teach the kids of today to be the leaders of tomorrow. We're here to lead today so we can have a tomorrow. We're here to keep vibrations and happiness and joy up so we can get to tomorrow. With that, I'm going to say good night. God bless. We love yous all. I hope you enjoyed the show. I talked a lot, but I hope I made some sense. So with that, good night, everyone. Patriot 5 and Patriot 6. Love you all, and we'll talk to you. If not before, we'll talk to you on Wednesday night. Thanks a lot for being here. With all our love, good night.